Hey everyone, John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be reviewing Rosetta Stone's Chinese language learning program. I'm going to break down how this program works and what you can expect, explain the strengths and weaknesses of this app as I see them, and finally, I'll give you a quick takeaway on whether we think Rosetta Stone is a good option for learning Chinese or whether another app might be better. And just as a heads up, since I'm just going to be covering the major highlights in this video and trying to keep things kind of short, if you find you need some more detail at any point, you can always jump over to our website and check out our full detailed written review of Rosetta Stone. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight Rosetta Stone Chinese Review. It's a quick way to find it. Okay, so to start this video, let's cover how the Rosetta Stone Chinese program is structured and how it generally works. So to start, one of the nice things about Rosetta Stone is that they give you a study plan. You log in and the app directs you to the next lesson on your learning path. There's no guesswork as to what's next on the agenda like I've seen with a few other language learning programs. However, if you take a step back, you can see the curriculum really isn't too complicated. At the end of the day, the Rosetta Stone Chinese course really is just comprised of 20 different language learning units which cover different thematic topics such as ordering food, shopping, everyday things, small talk, and stuff like that. Then, within each of these topical learning units, there are generally 4 lessons. And then breaking that down even further, within each lesson, there are several different sections or exercises to complete, such as pronunciation, vocabulary, listening, and reading. So that's the program from a high level. You've got around 20 major study units, each consisting of 4 lessons, and each lesson is made up of various exercises. And as for what the lessons themselves look like, depending on which section you're working, each one takes anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes to complete, and they all utilize pretty much the same types of drills and exercises that revolve around images. I'll discuss this a little bit later on when I get to the pros and cons of this app, but just know that pretty much every single drill or exercise within the lessons focuses on images. Matching images to spoken phrases, matching images to written phrases, speaking aloud what you see in an image. You get it. And it's also important to note here that in addition to the focus on images and pictures, Rosetta Stone's Chinese program is also built around immersion. This means there is very limited use of English in the lessons, and there's no moderator or guide there to hold your hand. Rather, the Rosetta Stone method is sort of based on the guiding principle that everything should be taught in Chinese in order to develop your comprehension naturally through context, exposure, and association. But anyway, that's an overview of the learning method and what the program is like. Now, before I dive straight into what we like and don't like about this app, let's quickly cover pricing. So if you're going to sign up, Rosetta Stone has 3 different plans to choose from: 2 monthly subscription options and 1 lifetime package. The monthly subscription options range from around $13 to $16 per month, and the lifetime option costs around $400. But that includes access to all Rosetta Stone languages, not just Chinese. But with that said, I should mention that the prices I just noted really don't mean much at the end of the day because Rosetta Stone regularly offers sales and special promotions. In fact, almost year-round, so make sure to look for discounts. In fact, I'll do my best to keep the text down below the video screen updated with the most current deals and coupons that I can find floating around out there for you. In most cases, I would expect to receive at least 40% off, if not more, with Rosetta Stone. I sometimes see the monthly subscriptions go for around $8 to $12 after discounts, and the lifetime package is usually slashed down to $150, which makes Rosetta Stone a little bit cheaper than other programs out there. Okay, so now that we've covered pricing and how the Rosetta Stone Chinese program works, let's get into the pros and cons. And let's start with what we liked. The first thing that needs to be said about Rosetta Stone is that it's a great fit for visual learners. As I mentioned, essentially every single drill and exercise in the program contains some sort of image or graphic. To be honest, it's the most image-heavy language program that I've used and reviewed to date. So if you're a visual learner and comprehend and retain information best through visual means, then Rosetta Stone should be well suited for your learning style. Okay, so the second strength of this program is the immersive learning framework that Rosetta Stone uses. It is definitely difficult at first, especially for those with zero foundation in Mandarin and even borderline frustrating at times, but in the long run, if you can stick with it, I think full immersion really helps you learn the language faster. Rather than using English as a go-between and trying to memorize translations, you start to think in Chinese and associate words with imagery and actions. This is a highly effective way of picking up a language gradually and naturally, sort of like when you first learned English as a baby. Our brains are wired to recognize patterns, identify visual cues, and extract meaning from context, which is exactly what the Rosetta Stone curriculum is based on. So although it can be annoying, especially for beginners, I do think this style of teaching works. And then the third thing that I like about Rosetta Stone is how fast the lessons go. Most of the lessons are chopped up into 10-minute increments, and this provides a really flexible way of getting lessons done. A lot of other apps out there have really long lessons, like up to an hour long. This is especially true for those with audio lessons like Rocket Chinese and Pimsleur. But the nice thing about Rosetta Stone is that you can flex these lesson segments around, doing one in the morning with your coffee, and then maybe another on your lunch break, and then one more after dinner. Consistency is key to language learning, and if a lesson takes a full hour, you might go a day or two without any practice because you just don't have time to start a full lesson. But with Rosetta Stone, you'll almost always have time for at least one lesson segment. All right, so the final pro worth noting is Rosetta Stone's True Accent technology. This is the company's speech recognition software which grades your pronunciation. How it works is as you complete verbal practice exercises throughout lessons, Rosetta Stone's speech technology is able to provide you immediate feedback on your pronunciation. I've used around 20 different language learning apps at this point, and they're different speech software tools, and I have to say that Rosetta Stone's speech technology is definitely near the top of the list. It integrates seamlessly into lessons, it's quick, and I've found it to be fairly accurate, which is something I can't necessarily say about the speech software from other apps. So overall, Rosetta Stone deserves credit when it comes to pronunciation feedback. Okay, so now that I've outlined the strengths of this program, let's get to the cons. But before I dive right into that, I just want to mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free language learning subscription to one lucky person. It's really easy to enter and everyone is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description, but just know it takes like 10 seconds and hey, you never know, you can win a totally free Rosetta Stone lifetime subscription. All right, so the biggest drawback of the Rosetta Stone course that I've experienced is that the lessons are somewhat repetitive. They're just a little tedious after a while. As I've mentioned a couple times now, the lessons are all essentially derivative of the same picture-based exercises. These lessons just don't have the same level of variety or diversity that you get with programs like Duolingo or Babbel. They're all kind of the same and repetitive. So I'd say if you're the type of person who has trouble focusing or you get bored easily, then Rosetta Stone might not be the best fit for you. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is that Rosetta Stone doesn't offer direct grammar instruction. Now, whether this is a true drawback is debatable because this is by design. Rosetta Stone believes in teaching grammar more organically within the context of its drills, but it needs to be called out because for people that like clear and concise, direct grammar explanations, you're just not going to find that here. Rosetta Stone immerses you in Chinese until you pick up the grammatical markers naturally. So I guess it really just depends on your learning style as to whether this is a true pro or con. And then lastly, the final negative worth noting is that while Rosetta Stone's speech software is solid, I just wish the underlying speaking exercises themselves were more comprehensive and contextual. They're all just sort of basic. You're really just asked to listen to and then repeat words and phrases in a vacuum, which is great for refining your pronunciation, but not so great for learning to use the language in a spontaneous and conversational manner. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that I just wish there was more opportunity for you to think critically and use the language under pressure. I see other apps like Rocket Chinese and Pimsleur do this with simulated mock conversations, and it would just be nice to see Rosetta Stone develop more exercises based on spontaneous verbal practice. But anyway, that about does it for the detail in this review, so let's get to my final verdict. In the end, I think Rosetta Stone is a good app to learn Chinese. The company's immersive, image-based approach to learning might not be for everyone, but if you can get through the first lessons, which can be frustrating, you definitely get into the swing of it, and I found it to be effective. I think this is going to be especially true for visual learners. With a smart study plan, solid speech software, comprehensive drills, and plenty of bonus resources and tools, there's just a lot to like here. Really, the only instances in which I'd steer you away from Rosetta Stone is if you're an auditory learner or you have some bad ADD or focus issues. In those cases, I'd recommend either Rocket Chinese or Pimsleur. But with that said, I think Rosetta Stone is an otherwise solid choice for learning Chinese. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope this video has been helpful and you learned a little something about Rosetta Stone Chinese. If so, please return the favor by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and drop me a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full detailed written review that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website. Again, that's testprepinsight.com, or you can always check out the other reviews and comparisons we have on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great video content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.